Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. And we're brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, serving the entire tri-state area around New York City and Long Island. 6317561125. Plenty of rock salt at the lowest prices anywhere you can find. And also all sorts of supplies from snow blowers and spreaders to Pelleto to mag ice pellets and flakes, all the great snow melting products to keep your home nice, safe, and clean during this winter season. So head over to Omni. Again, 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 6317561125 is the phone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. All right, there's a whole lot to talk about today, so we're going to, of course, expect that weather in 5 is going to go longer than 5. So let me just run through a couple of things that are happening. First off, with regards to winter weather advisories, because I think that's where we're going with this for areas north and west of I-95. Those are probably not going to go up right now. We're talking about something for Sunday evening and the first part of Sunday night, so there's obviously plenty of time. As far as the areas along and south and east of I-95, there's no issue here. We've got a screaming east wind that's going to develop later tomorrow into tomorrow night. What's truly remarkable to me is the fact that, and you don't see this, well, you don't see it too often because it's not often that we get this cold. But on the other hand, when it does, it's not as uncommon as you think because of our proximity to the ocean. But it's hard to imagine that Sunday morning we're going to have temperatures that are going to be in the single digits, and just north and west of the coast we could even wind up seeing temperatures below zero. And there are many areas that just 12 hours later will be above, not only above freezing, but when precipitation arrives, they won't see a flake or an ice pellet. So it's a bit odd. It's got to be frustrating for those of you who like winter weather, but that's oftentimes the way it works. We've got winter storm watches up west of I-81 for the most part. Actually, it does extend a little bit to the counties east of Harrisburg toward York, Pennsylvania, but not in Lancaster or southeastern Pennsylvania, not in it now. The watches go down to north central Maryland and into northeastern Virginia. We also have winter storm watches in western PA, easternmost Ohio, down into West Virginia. Winter storm warnings up in West New York. That includes Buffalo and probably will eventually include Rochester and Syracuse. We go to the south. We have winter storm warnings up for southwestern Virginia into much of central and western North Carolina, northwestern South Carolina, and much of northern and northeast Georgia with winter weather advisories surrounding that, ice storm warnings. And we're talking about significant icing here, by the way, up to maybe as much as a half to 3/4 of an inch of ice. Ice storm warnings up for central South Carolina, mostly north of Columbia. And then we have winter weather advisories for ice and some snow for areas down to Atlanta. Those of you in Georgia, if you live in Atlanta, you haven't had accumulating snow in 1,500 days, so over 4 years. And by the way, we have advisories and they extend and winter storm watches up for parts of southeastern Kentucky, and advisories that extend back across parts of Tennessee and northern Mississippi. So this is going to be a very much a wide impact type event. And I just want to give you an idea also in terms of what's going on with respect to temperatures, because this is really important with regards to precipitation arrival time. And I'm going to take you around the horn to a few places. The map that's up on the screen, the numbers you're seeing there are actually temperatures for 4 a.m. on Monday morning. I'm waiting for the map numbers to switch, which they're doing now. So there we go. This is at 7 p.m. in the evening in and around New York City and points eastward. And notice two things. Notice how sharply it goes from temperatures over 40 along the immediate coast and south of I-95 and down the New Jersey shore. And then you go inland and not that far inland. Again, this is at 7 p.m., and we're looking at temperatures that are below freezing, especially as you go, say, west of 287 in New Jersey And well, look, the freezing line actually pushes pretty far north up, almost to, but not quite to Route 84, between 287 and 84 in the lower Hudson Valley. So in spite of all the bitter cold air that's going to be around into tomorrow morning, the wind direction is awful. We have a bad high, and what I mean by a bad high is that the high goes into a position southeast of Cape Cod, and that creates a wind that's more east and even east southeast. And you're talking about this wind coming over 40 to 45 degree ocean water at the minimum. So it warms up not only quickly at the coast, but it will also scour out the cold air that remains to the west. And it is ample. We have temperatures in northwest Jersey, for example, at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening in the mid 20s. We're in the low 20s in northeastern Pennsylvania and southeastern Pennsylvania, upper 20s to around 30, down into Maryland and northeastern Virginia, where the cold air is actually going to get trapped. We're seeing temperatures in the middle to upper 20s. So in a sense, this is going to have a little bit of an upside down nature to it, where it's actually going to be colder as you go south and west and warmer as you go to the northeast. And just to give you an idea of the changes that take place in a short period of time, I'm going to try to move this up to 10 o'clock, just 3 hours later, and we'll be able to see the advancement of that freezing line, which is where the blue ends and the green begins. And it's now pushed up this is again at, well, I have 8 p.m. So I only even went an hour, but even in an hour's time, we start to see temperatures start to climb up fairly quickly. And that's just going to continue right into the night. And eventually you're going to see that warm air move into southeastern, south central Pennsylvania, and then even into northeastern Pennsylvania and further up the Hudson Valley. Look at this. This is at 1 a.m. And except for northeastern PA, and north of Route 84, just about everybody is above freezing. And you have temperatures actually in central and southern New Jersey in the mid to upper 40s, even a few 50-degree readings showing up. So we are, this is the big problem when you have. It's not just the low tracking to the west; it's the fact that the high has gone out in what I have referred to again as it's a bad high. I mean, it just simply is no other way to describe it, really, other than to say that it's a bad high. You need the highs to go up, to be up in Maine and up in the St. Lawrence Valley, southeastern Canada, and kind of not going anywhere, pressing down. And it's the absence of a block that has created this. Now, in terms of the total snowfall forecast, the Weather Service has actually come in a little bit with some of the numbers, not by a lot. They might have shaded them down a bit. This has now come closer. I have been on the low end since Thursday, and this has actually gotten closer to mine. It's not that far off. I'm a little bit lower than these numbers in most of the area, so I feel very comfortable with that early call snow forecast that I made. And it's on my patreon.com/meteorologist Joe Cioffi site. Also, by the way, every single snow forecast map from Maine to Georgia, back to the Appalachians from the Weather Service is on there, completely updated, and it's all on one page, so it's easily accessible. I've been doing that over the last couple of days. Notice you go into Western PA, you go up into Western New York, particularly around Buffalo, Rochester. This is the big jackpot zone here. As it turned out, it just kept moving further and further west, and that's what we're seeing here. The big snows are going to be in Western New York and in northwestern Pennsylvania, and then down, extending in the mountains west of Altoona into northern West Virginia. Now we head down south, where we have winter storm warnings, as we said, up all the way down into northeast Georgia. You got to be careful when you use these snowfall forecast maps on this wide digital base here, because a lot of this is mountains, and elevation is key. So, for example, in northeast Georgia, the winter storm warnings are up. If they're forecasting snowfall amounts of over 8 inches above 2,500 feet, which is not that high, since some of the mountain peaks up down here go up over 4,000 feet. But certainly some of the tops, some of the higher mountain elevations above 3,000 and 4,000 feet in the Western Carolinas are going to wind up seeing a foot plus. And even down into northeast Georgia, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the higher mountain elevations above 3,000 and 4,000 feet wind up seeing a foot plus. And amounts tail off. A coating to an inch is actually forecast for Atlanta. You can see the 1 being printed there. That if they get it, anything measurable, it'll end that almost that 4-year plus streak that they're on. And amounts tail off as you go into eastern North Carolina and northwestern South Carolina. Here, the issue is going to be more ice, and we think it's going to be ice accumulations on the order in some places of a half to three-quarters of an inch. And this will be during the day on Sunday and into Sunday night before the low pulls away onto the northeast. So let's look at the new NAM. And as far as the front end thump idea, it's not going to be much of one. You see how quickly the system moves up the coast. So at where it stays all snow, it could be as little as a couple of hours to maybe as much as 4 or 5 hours. You go to freezing rain. Much of the eastern half of Pennsylvania goes to all rain, with the low tracking pretty much just west of the New Jersey-Pennsylvania state line and jumping around a bit before it heads up into upstate New York. The rain is over with from New York City south and west between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. Monday morning, and then a little later ends at Boston around 10 or 11 a.m., and then it sweeps on up into Maine and points further north as the low begins to move away and colder, drier air comes in. We also want to point out that on the southern end of this, as you watch the models during the day today, this is for this evening. So we've got rain in Alabama and northern Mississippi with snow back into Arkansas. Then the high building down during Saturday night into Sunday morning creates that wedge into the Carolina mountains. So you start to see ice and snow breaking out ahead of it. And then as the low goes by, the cold upper feature, the very vigorous upper low that's going to be moving overhead and cooling the atmosphere from the top down. That's the thing to watch carefully here in the south, because it's the track of the upper low that becomes very important. Very cold upper air system. You'll see that cold air mixing from the top of the atmosphere down to the bottom. And oftentimes, under certain circumstances, you could get into some rather intense precipitation for short periods of time. And this is where I think some areas could wind up seeing maybe surprises on the upside in terms of snowfall. And this is Sunday afternoon, snowing in central Tennessee, northern Georgia, northeastern Alabama, ice across South and North Carolina. Then, of course, up the coast we go. You see the snow across Pennsylvania. This is at 7 p.m. And that's another thing. It's the fact that with the high to the east, we are going to see this precipitation come in. You know, if it were to come in tomorrow morning while it was still cold enough, it would be a whole different ball game as far as a front end thump, but not happening here. And then it lifts on up to the northeast. We do also have severe weather risks today. They're primarily along the Gulf Coast from east of from the Mississippi Gulf Coast, actually probably starting from southeast Louisiana late this afternoon into the Florida Panhandle. And then tomorrow, we've got severe weather risks in Florida. You can see the NAM is pretty bullish here with showers and thunderstorms. And then for the coastal North Carolina during tomorrow evening as the low moves out. That's a pretty interesting looking squall line that the NAM model develops here. One other thing to point out, very tight gradient, full moon, deepening low moving up the East Coast this weekend. Ingredients for moderate coastal flooding at high tides during later Sunday night into early Monday, and wind gusts along the coast that are going to be in excess of 50 miles an hour at times during Sunday evening into early Monday morning, particularly from southern New England and southeastern New England and Long Island. So just pay attention to that if you're a coastal resident. Again, moderate coastal flooding is expected here. It may be just a couple of tide cycles to worry about. And then after that, the wind will turn to the west on Monday, and that'll put an end to any kind of coastal flooding threat. So as we said, a lot going on with this particular storm. For you snow lovers along the coastal plain, it is a disappointment, I know, but I have to tell you, that it became very clear starting later Wednesday and Wednesday night that this was not going to be anything other than what it has turned into. So, after a while, after a while, you got to throw in the towel, and the towels should have been thrown in a long time ago. I've said many times on my live casts and elsewhere that if I'm not talking about it, you don't need to worry about it. And I know it's very tough in the world that we live in today to avoid not seeing some of the crap that is put on social media for days and sometimes even weeks ahead of time with regards to storm threats. You just have to just get rid of those. You don't need to see them. They 99 times out of 100, they're not going to happen. So again, if I don't talk about it, they ain't worth worrying about. Weather in what is normally weather in 5 and has turned into weather in more than 5 is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. For all your winter weather cleanup needs, 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. So look, folks, bottom line is try to stay warm through all of this. And that may not be easy, considering that we're not going to get out of the teens to near 20 today in many locations. Further south, it's going to be a little bit slightly higher, but not much higher, low and mid-20s as you head into the northern mid-Atlantic states. And then it's low teens to single digits to below zero into Sunday morning, setting us up for this snow to rain, or in some cases all rain, for Sunday evening and Sunday night. The Joe and Joe Weather Show will be on tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time. We are doing a Saturday show, and we'll also be on tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, which is our usual time. So do tune in, and we will hopefully see you later.